So MVP of the week here, guys. So this one here is actually going to be, it's a really special mention here for, make sure that it's not Dana. So MVP of the week here, guys, this person is, it's a unique one, this one, because I think we need to really recognize this person. Not just an unbelievable human being in every which way. If you talk to this person, you really can't have anything bad to say about this person. But also, you know, when we sat down and when she became a sales leader, she said to me, she said, when I go sales leader, and she, you know, she just got all the qualified and everything like that, she goes, I will not let you down. I will give you everything I've got. I will give you no excuses. I'll just give you everything I got, and I'll be the best I can be. And this person not only did that, but has done it for over almost 2 years now, has led the company in doing this thing, and just goes out and above and beyond, shows up to meetings 30 minutes early, stays as long as possible, is on the phone all the time, has 3 kids, doing all this kind of stuff, has to take her mom, doing all these different types of things, led the thing and did over 300,000 APV in the last cycle. I mean, in the last quarter, in the last cycle here, almost 200,000 in the quarter. And guys, honestly, these numbers here, guys, is unbelievable what the company's seeing here. And this is in COVID. This person goes out here and goes above and beyond and is showing the numbers of what is happening across the company here by just going out there and doing hard work. The reason why we want to really celebrate this person is because the difference between this person and a lot of people out there in the world is this person's all in. If you ask her, is this the most important thing in her life? She will say yes. If you want to be like, how come this person's getting this kind of income? How come she's doing this? How come she's getting all this success? It's because this is the most important thing in her life. Now, her kids are the most important, but her kids can't provide for this opportunity, but this opportunity can provide for her kids and her family. So you have to understand what is the most important thing in our lives is if you can take this, it can actually give you everything in your life for your kids and everything like that. So this person here has gone above and beyond, guys. Probably one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. Is here as a rock, is a dedication to D6. Honestly, the one, the only, the fantastic. Let's give her a huge round of applause, Mary Maron. Woo! Mary.
Good morning, D6. Thank you, Mark. I was just about to cry there. There. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful introduction. I'm not perfect, as you know. But honestly, never in my entire life did I ever think that I would be where I am today. Not because I didn't dream of it, but because I got used to the life that I grew up with. I was already content and thought that's just how life was. Then I met Combined and I realized that we could still dream big, and have the means to achieve it. For those of you who didn't know or hear my story, I am just an ordinary girl raised by an extraordinary parent. We were taught early in life that we could handle things on our own, given the opportunity. I couldn't remember a time when my parent actually talked to me in such pampering words. Never. If we had problems, we dealt with it on our own, but by the time my dad knew about it, it's already been resolved. Otherwise, I'm in for a bigger trouble. Yeah. And this taught me to become resourceful, creative, patient, imaginative, and faithful. It taught me to believe in myself, and believe that there's a power in the universe greater than any one of us, and that's God's power. This year was no different. It was indeed a challenging year that if we're not resourceful, we would just quit. If we weren't creative, we would just accept defeat. If we were not patient, we would not learn. It was hard. And if we were not faithful, we would just lose hope and we wouldn't be here today. You probably ask how I did get here. How did I become a sales leader, not just a sales leader, but the number one sales leader in the entire country in the middle of COVID? Yes, thank you, Dana. First of all, everything happened because of faith. Faith of what God can do in our lives. Faith of what I'm capable of. Faith that combined will take care of its employees and its independent contractors. Faith that I can count on my fellow sales leaders. Faith that Mark is going to stay as a District 6 leader no matter what. Faith that the dream team here and there in Edmonton will never give up, that we will give all the best that we can, and we will have each other's back. Everything that I do, I entrust unto God. If you know me in person, that's me. I hold on to his promise that I would do my very best to serve whatever he purposed me to do. I firmly believe that we all are created with a purpose. We were not born in this world by accident. So, what is your purpose? I know my purpose. Why did God create us? Why did God create you? Let me quickly share with you a story. When I was in grade 9, my sister and I couldn't take the final exams at school until we paid fully the tuition fee. Her being the oldest, she volunteered to see our parents in the mountain and get some money for it. E-transfer was not the trend at that point, and we were in the mountain. It was dark already, and I was so worried because she didn't come back yet. And so I asked my little brother who was in grade 6, I said, we have to walk to the mountains. We had no money for fare. It took us 2 days to get to my parents. And when we got there, I heard from my sister, she actually had some issues of her own that she had to deal with, that she totally forgot about the intention of getting money for the tuition fee. From that day on, I took ownership of my future and my destiny. It helped me realize that, I can't rely my success to others because they too have their own baggage to carry. My journey here was never different. When COVID hit, we had to make some changes and we have to adapt to it. This amazing company, instead of shutting down just like the others, they introduced different ways to make this business work. There was telephonic sales, Calibros, DocuSign. Add to that the struggle of how to screen share on Zoom and WebEx. It was crazy. Then, brace this one. Sales leaders are now going to handle sales class. And on top of that, I have 3 children at home who had to do homeschooling this time. Wow, so much to learn, so much to do in such a short notice. Thankfully, D6 is here. Mark's leadership and the amazing support of all the leaders, we managed to get through it. Let's face it, many get anxious of what's going to happen next. I was not exempted from that. I worried. Yeah. I worried more for the people around me. I worried for those who relied on me and my expertise. But worried as we were, we kept going. There were more people interested to do the business. We actually kept recruiting people. Did I ever feel exhausted? From training people to teaching sales class to learning things myself, navigating the new system, and looking after my own household. 3 children, and my 4th child is my husband. Mark laughs so hard, he knows that. Yes, I was exhausted. But every time I felt that way, I prayed. That's my secret. I prayed even harder for strength, for the drive, so I could do everything I could to help other families put food on the table for their family, for their children, making sure that everyone in the team is confident enough to go out there and make a difference. These thoughts kept me going. There's no way I would back out. because this unprecedented event definitely brought out the best in us in handling different situations. And it worked for me, it worked for you, it worked for everybody. That we did face challenges. But you may still ask, okay, Mary, how did you really do it? If you're paying attention to what I was telling you, all I did was being all in. Not once did I question the system. Not once did I ask why we're doing this and not do this and those or do that. Never. All I did was just being all in and just do it attitude. All the leaders know that. Did I find it hard? I would be lying if I would say no. The struggle was real. Sitting all day figuring out how to use Zoom or WebEx and mastering it so I could share the knowledge to others, it was real. My children were so involved in the process though. They had to run to the basement while I was trying to figure out if they could see my screen or if they could hear my voice. My kids were also confused, just like probably a lot of people in the world. But they understood that mama had to learn this because there are people relying on what I could do, on what I could do for them. We pulled it all together, so I'm happy about that. COVID definitely dramatically changed our lives. The D6 trainings became even more intense. Mark was jumping up and down the stage, dancing, stage, strutting, everything that you could imagine that he would do, and you could see that. And then it got me thinking, if Mark, who's single and probably, has enough money in the bank to get through COVID, even without working so hard. But here he is doing everything within his power to get the message out to us that we need to work, that we could get through this, that we will get past this. I was thinking, why won't I? Why won't we? Mark definitely set the bar high in showing compassion, in showing that he cared for us and for our families, that this is everything, that this has to be everything, that getting through this means what? Going to work and taking action. We took action. We did. Dream team right there on the board took action. Congratulations, Dream Team. You guys are the best. Whatever success I have today, I'm not yet done. Whatever success I achieve, this was not mine. This was never all mine. This is all ours. This is a concerted effort of us all going out there, going all in, embracing the system, embracing the change, and doing the work. We are a community of eagles, and let's remain as one. Thank you.
Mary, let's give it up for Mary Marilyn. Oh, let's give her one more time. Yeah. Mary, honestly, a true inspiration, guys, of what is possible. Guys, she talks about it in her story here, but it's all these defining moments if you get to have that kind of stuff. When you hear a story like that, which I never heard that before, that she walked 2 days up into a mountain. I mean, I know we kind of live in this kind of world here where we don't have to do that. We could probably hitchhike or something, right? But the idea is that she had to walk for 2 days to go to get to her mom. And the reason why in her beliefs and everything like that, God put her to do that was to learn a little message, which was she has to make it happen for herself. And for some reason, some of us out here think that it's going to happen anyways because you're a nice person. It doesn't matter. Mary's a nice person, but she knows she has to put her foot forward. She knows she has to tell her kids. I'll tell you a quick story about Mary here. Mary used to work in another company. What was it? What was the other company, Mary? Whatever the company was, but she was selling pots and pans. Okay, selling, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, just got it. So she was selling. We're not going to mention that name, I guess, right? But no, just kill it. We don't care. Okay. This company, it was selling pots and pans and stuff like that. And she had her day homes and she was doing those types of stuff. She's building the business. She's doing all these types of things. And then she's having this other business on the side. And literally she'd go there, have to have these pots and pans and cook dinner for people at their house and then clean them afterwards and do all that kind of stuff. But you know what she did? Because she had to take care of her kids, she brought her kids along. They were in the car, they were there helping, they were doing all this kind of stuff. And one of the kids, when her son said, Mom, why are you working so hard for all this? Why are you cleaning their house? Why you do this? Why you do all that kind of stuff? Like, what can we get? What are you going to get from this? And she says, if I sell them on the very top plan of $11,000, I can get $1,000 for our family. And that's what she did to go through that. And that's what she was doing. And that's what a lot of people have to go through. And here, I mean, our income actually destroys that. But the thing is that's why you have who she is now. Because she brought her kids along. She didn't go, I have kids, that's my excuse. She said, we're coming. You're going to come along because we got to go do more. Because she's showing them by example that if you do more, you can give more, you can get more. And that's the whole thing here, is Mary went above and beyond. She had to learn how to teach people. She got 8 people come out of school when this thing happened. She's never done it before, and she had to go and train people schooling. And we all had our own mix-ups, right? So she's kind of left to the wolves about it. And it was tough. She had to learn WebEx and all that kind of stuff, right? And she was doing all this kind of stuff. She's like, Mark, but she would she would come back after 15 hours of a day trying to figure that stuff out. And that's what champions do. And that's what we all do here, guys. And that's what District 6 is. And you are honestly 100% with the dream team there on honestly like a complete person of what District 6 means. Is you're going to give everything to the cause, do everything here, show up to every training, don't question, and just be positive all the time. Let's give it to the one, the only, Mary! #1 sales leader in the company. DJ Mary. All right. So guys, with that, guys, we're going to go to break and then we'll come back. We're going to have a fantastic, breakout and appointment so we can get these massages here. We'll come back at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a great training. Great job and congratulations, Mary. Welcome back, everybody here. All right, guys. So thank you so much. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five and say, this is why we are here. So guys, we're going to get into today's training. Sorry, guys, we had technical difficulties. The whole thing just shut down on us. So thank goodness we have technology and we have Dana and everybody there to keep it going. So today's training guide, we're going to get into a video in a second here. And it's just a short little video. But when we're going to talk about this is why we're here, again, hearing from Mary's story, let's give her another huge round of applause here. Like, that's the best thing. What our company does that no other company is going to do, it does 2 things amazingly well. One, it pays claims. And that is the most amazing thing that's never been done before in insurance, is that we pay claims and they're honestly stand behind it and everything like that. And they do the right thing. It's the right thing to do. So I'd say almost like 95%, 99% of all legitimate claims will be paid, right? And if there's only a reason that there isn't paid, it's because there's something information we don't know about it. But the cool thing is they do an amazing job with that. And they've done it over times of making sure they're doing the right thing. But the second thing that they do is they pay us really well. Yeah. They pay claims and they pay us really well. And when we're talking about what Mary's story was, she had to sell $11,000 pots and pans, which who would think is easy? Does anybody have $11,000 pots and pans other than Mary?
Depends on the pot.
It's the other one, sorry. So with that, guys, understanding that, like, what we have here is sometimes, hey Jan. If what we have to understand here is we have this kind of income here, but we got to use it to its full advantage. Because what we have to look at is the company right now is trusting us totally 1,000% in their whole marketing strategy. We know that because there's no combined anywhere. But now, being so, that is, we have to prove to them right now more than ever that this works. So we have to work together on this one. We have to use these stories. We have to go out there and talk to as many people as possible because we are the marketing arm. But if we don't continue to move forward and continue to do this thing, guess what? They will find another way to do it because they're a $2.5 billion company and they want to become a $20 billion company. Just to let you guys know that. They want to become the biggest insurance company of all times, but they have to go out there and do it. So for us every day, when you got hired here, you're part of a system here to go out there to show this to as many people as possible. So this is why we put up these stories. This is where we talk about the trip, because whatever we can do to get us to go out there and share that this even exists, because that's the funnest part, guys. You can literally walk up to 100 people like, hey, you ever been sick or hurt? Have you ever been sick or hurt? Have you ever been sick or hurt? Somebody goes, yes. You're like, oh, tell me about it. You can literally do that in one day and you will become, honestly, you could make $250,000 by just doing that. It's that simple, because if you can show them a solution where they got hurt, you're going to hear on the video today that we have a major hole in the world that people, when they get hurt or sick, they don't know how to recover from it. And they go financially search. And you've seen the graphs and everything that we've talked about it. So we have to get understanding that this company pays. And the reason why we want to go through these stories here today is to make sure we're talking about everything like that, of making sure this is why we're here. So is it that one? Perfect. All right. So in the group here, it should be about a 3-minute video. Yeah. Perfect. So in the group, guys, we're going to go to the group here. And we just want to talk about, this is just a nice, this is a story about cancer. It's just a little quick story of what happens in the life here. So we're just going to go to the group right now. It's just going to be a small little video. We'll watch this video. Then we're going to come back and we'll do a lot of great shares today. So enjoy the video. We'll come back in about 3 minutes. All right. Let's give that video a huge round of applause here. So I don't know if this camera does look like it's not on, but so we're going to have from another camera. Can you guys hear me okay, Dana?
Yeah, we can hear you okay, but we're not going to have the video with the sound because it's not on the same device, that's all. But all good. All
right, you guys see my Facebook page. Don't worry about it. You know what I look like. Guys, so we're going to get right into it today, guys. We want to talk about stories. So again, that's just information about we need to create awareness. And we want to know that these are the stories. And these are all from, District 6 over the years, guys. So you're going to hear a lot of speakers come up here. And we want you to take down notes because it's not just going to be a claims corner. We're probably going to go through 2, and then we're going to do a little breakout room for 3 minutes so you can practice one of the 2 here. So the first person up is going to be Janelle. And guys, when they come up here, they're going to talk about the story, but they're going to give you some extra details. But again, the idea is to practice the story, because if you're not practicing the story, it's just not going to come through 100%. So for the first one up here, let's give Janelle Anderson a huge round of applause here for the first claim story of the year.
Amazing. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. Yep. Okay, perfect. Amazing. I'll just stand up. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so this is a really crazy claim that I dealt with very early on when I first started. This was the biggest sale APV that I did with the client. So I'll tell you the details about it first, and then I'll tell you how I say it when I'm presenting it to people. But he is self-employed and he makes a lot of money. And so I was really intimidated to sit down with him because I was like, oh, just like Kelly was saying today, oh, they have a lot of money. They probably don't need it. They won't see the value, that type of thing. So when I sat down with him, I was like, you probably won't. This is me in the early stages. I'm like, you probably won't need any of this, but I'm just going to show it to you anyways because I just really need to do the appointment. And he really saw the value right away because he was like, I'm self-employed, and if I'm not working, I don't have anything. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty awesome. So we signed him up. He got $4,000 of income guard. He got the full, which is the DAP, which is now the IEA. So we got the full $2,000 IEA, and he got $1,000 of the IS. And that was really amazing. So that was like one of my biggest ones that I had ever did. And then he had the policy for about a year. And then what happened was he lived on 63 acres by the ocean, in the forest, whatever. And he was riding around on his bike, just like he did every single day on his property. He fell off. He hit a pothole that was covered by grass and rocks and stuff. He hit a pothole. He fell off, and he was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm okay. He didn't have any hospitalization benefit. He never went to the hospital. A couple days later, he went to the doctor because he had really bad migraines. And the doctor was like, okay, we're going to run some tests and things like that. And it turned out that he had a very serious concussion. The doctor was like, you're not allowed on your cell phone. You're not allowed on your computer. You can't work, everything like that. Like, you just have to literally just like sit and lie there and hope that your brain heals. And because it was really bruised and a major concussion at the end of the day. He ended up being off of work for 8 months and being self-employed, not able to be on your computer, not able to make phone calls, not able to, you know, do the things that you usually do. And he was able to claim $23,000 over the course of 8 months. So that was pretty amazing for not only him, but for me, because if I never sat down with him, he would have gotten nothing from that. Being self-employed, you don't have any benefits. There's no WCB, and it didn't happen at work. It happened when he was at home doing a recreational activity, right? So no benefits there. And since that, he has been one of my biggest referral sources because not even like a year after he got the policy, he claimed. And that's what some people make in a year. And he was able to claim that over the course of 6 months. And it really helped him through that time. So I'm just super thankful that I had the courage to sit down with him and to show him what it was. And even though I wasn't that confident in it, he taught me that I should be confident in it. I'm really glad that he did. And he's still a client today. And that was back in 2017 that he got the policy. So that's the details of the story. Pretty amazing. But when I sit down with people and they're self-employed, I always just say, you know, you're your own biggest asset because we don't have anything else to fall back on. We don't have the assistance of the government. We don't have any sick days or short-term disability or things like that. So a lot of people are using this as their lifeline, and it's pretty amazing. So I had a client that did a regular activity that he does every single day. He just went for a normal bike ride, ended up hitting a pothole, and he got a major concussion and wasn't able to work for 8 months. With being off of work for 8 months, he was able to claim $23,000. So if you were to be off of work for 8 months, would you receive $23,000 for being off of work? And the majority of people say no, but that's how I kind of ask it in the question. So Mark, is there anything else you want me to add?
No, that's great. Let's give Janelle a huge round of applause here. Fantastic story, guys. And again, we can use this one. So we're going to practice one in a little bit here, but we're going to do a second one here. But I mean, guys, an amazing story where somebody didn't even know that it was that bad, and then it started to occur afterwards. Because sometimes we get injuries or we get sick and we don't go to the hospital, but it gave awareness. He went there, and look how bad it was. He couldn't be on a cell phone. He couldn't do anything. And he got 6 to 8 months out. So again, these are the stories when somebody's like, you know what, I'm self-employed, I'm multimillionaire, or whatever it is. Hold on, here's a story about somebody else that owns 63 acres, multimillionaire, and could have done it. And this is really what he didn't want to go through all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of people talk about how much they have, but they don't want to lose it all, right? So great job. Let's give Janelle a huge round of applause here. Really great story. All right, so the second one up here today is Mr. Dan Swanston. Woo! Let's give him a huge round of applause here. You guys are in there for a treat on this one.
86. So this is actually the claim that actually changed the way that I was thinking about my career. And this happened probably a year of me being in the business. I know there's a lot of new people here, so I know a lot of you heard this story, but for those that are new, have you heard about that young man in Sherwood Park that broke his neck in the trampoline park a few years ago? Okay, he was my client. How it ended up happening was I met his boss at a trade show. His boss owns a painting company. And I met him at a trade show, told him what I did. And he's like, you know what, I'm really interested. I'll learn about it. So of course, I gave him the best presentation he ever saw. And he was like, wow, this is really good. It's affordable. I totally wanted to get my guys on. So we covered all of his staff. So we all got in there. This young man, he's like 19 years old, really sharp, really bright, you know, full bodied, everything like that. Got him signed up. Didn't think much about it. It was a nice little sale for me. But what ended up happening, and this is where you don't realize, when you sign someone up, when I signed him up, I didn't think you're going to break his neck. He broke his neck 3 weeks after I signed his policy. Okay. So the crazy part about that is, if you're ever feeling hesitant to talk to someone, I want you to remind yourself, you don't know what could happen tomorrow, 3 weeks, or a month, or a year from now from them, that they may need something like this desperately. Okay. So unfortunately, yeah, he did break his neck. I got the call. I could not even believe it. You know, his mom, who initially scoffed at him and said, how could you let some like sleazy insurance guy sell you on some stuff? You don't need any of that stuff. I ended up meeting her in the hospital. We had a whole talk about it. All in all, he got about $45,000 from this claim. And I want you guys to remember to think about what this is. He was in the hospital. He was like in the hospital for about 2 months in the hospital before he went to a rehab hospital. And his mom quit her job, spent every day in the hospital with him. What mother wouldn't do that for their child that's gone through something like that? Okay. So she's not working. On top of that, they have to renovate their home to make it wheelchair accessible. Okay. After that, he has to buy like the specialized rehab programs for people that have suffered spinal cord injuries, because that's not a typical rehab program. Okay. This all would have been out of pocket for the family. Like and the parents told me, they're like, we were on track to retire in 4 years at that time. And we still are, because this insurance literally covered all of those initial costs for us. Okay. This would have probably bankrupted the family, or not bankrupt, but just devastated them financially. And you can't prevent accidents from happening, but like that financial devastation was alleviated. And it was like a $24 a month policy that paid him $45,000. Okay. Do you guys see why? So that for me was powerful, because that made me realize you just can't know. And yeah, the smaller injuries are great, but the big ones, the ones that like change your life, like this does actually make a huge difference for people. And that's why we are all here.
Let's give Dan a huge round of applause. All right, so before we get to that, guys, I just want to give another shout out to Dan and Janelle here because of what they did. Because again, these two people have honestly had a lifeline because of them not having the fear to go out there and share this thing. Because you don't know how many things have happened to so many people when you get a referral that you could be protecting and saving so many people's lives. So just get out of our own way on a 24, which would be a $28 policy, a plan 2, getting paid that kind of income, which gave the mom the lifeline. And she was against it. She was like, oh my God, just no. She actually prevented Dan, I believe, from coming in, upselling him to a $48 policy, which would have been a $56, let's just say. And then he would have got double that. But now she's a believer and she's a huge spokesperson for Dan. So honestly, let's give Dan and Janelle a huge round of applause here, guys. So practice is one of these stories. So we're going to go to the breakout rooms for 3 minutes. We'll come back, practice these stories a little bit here. We'll come back in 3 minutes and we'll get on to the next two. Great job, everyone. Good to go. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give him a high five and say, this is why we are here. Awesome. So again, guys, these are two great stories. But again, this is when you're talking to employers that want to, sign up their business, whatnot like that. That one there, guys, it was the employer that got it. The guy didn't get it. Yeah. And obviously the mom has gone to the employer and said, thank you once or twice. So this is something you can sit down, like, this is the stories, the reasons why employers are loving this and loving to buy for their people, because they never know what can happen to them. And honestly, this guy was a hero. And this is the kind of stories that you can build up all the time. So great job. Those are fantastic. All right. So next up here, I believe we have Darlene up, and Darlene's up here to talk about the sock. You guys have probably heard of this one before. So let's give it up for Darlene.
Alrighty then. So the sock lady, our famous sock lady, finally you get to hear the real story behind the sock lady. So actually the way this story started was that I was at McDonald's on the outside patio doing a presentation and writing a policy for someone. And this woman was just kind of hanging out close by. And so as soon as I was done, she just came over and she said, hey, you know what, like I heard what you were talking about. And, I think my husband really needs, these policies. So we exchanged information and we set up an appointment and I went to see her. And unfortunately, her husband actually didn't qualify for our policies, but she did. So we wrote some policies for her. In a matter of months, she gave me a call and it was just the most bizarre thing because she says, I was in my bedroom and I slipped on a sock and I ended up doing the splits around the base of the bed frame and I couldn't get up and we had to call the ambulance and they actually had to call 2 ambulances to actually get her out of that situation. She was so badly hurt. And I don't know what a meniscus is, but something about a torn meniscus or something like that. So anyway, she was in the hospital for 28 days, required quite a bit of surgery. And as well as once she was out of the hospital later, she had to go back for more surgery, outpatient surgery, as well as she also needed quite a bit of physiotherapy. So she had 2 of our entry-level products, which paid her over $10,000, which was really helpful, even though she was staying at home and she didn't have an income. Her husband, who was self-employed and didn't get paid unless he was at work, ended up having to spend a lot of time at home with her because she was completely bedridden when she got out of the hospital. So that was really important for them to have that extra money coming in at that time. So if I was talking to a client, especially in these days of COVID, I would be like, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I know that you hardly ever leave the house. And you probably think that, you know, what could you do to get injured so badly that you'd be in the hospital for 28 days? But do you own socks?
Yeah, let's give it up for Darlene. That's awesome. Great job, Darlene. Let's give her another huge round of applause here. Honestly, guys, and again, this story is phenomenal because of two things. One, it's crazy, right? I mean, and now we know the whole story about it, and it's on the entry level, so the $14 kind of $12 plans here, so this is amazing. And then on top of that, guys, because she was in doing a presentation, somebody else heard about this and walked over. Do you guys know what we have here? Have you ever seen anybody, you're just like sitting in a Starbucks and you're like, oh, I want to spend some money on something else I don't know about, right? That doesn't happen. But when somebody's talking about, and as passionate as Darlene is, you can hear it and people get involved with it, guys. So this is the most amazing company. You can actually sit there and do that. So let's give Darlene a huge round of applause here. All right, so next up, we're gonna do a second one, then we'll go to breakout rooms. We're gonna give it up to Dynamite. Let's give it up for Dana.
All right, so I believe we've done this one a little bit in the past as well. This lady, she was retired. She wasn't retired when she got the coverage, but you know, she was definitely getting close to retirement age. And a lot of people think, you know, with retired people and stuff like that, they think that, well, why would she need the coverage? She's got a fixed income. She's got all the money she's going to live on anyways. She doesn't have to go to work or anything like that. So sometimes that category or that age group gets a little bit discounted. Let me tell you how grateful this lady is that we've paid her over $10,000. And she's the sweetest, she's such a sweetheart. And she's so funny with what she tells me she spends the money on. But yes, she has a fixed income. And yes, she's getting all the money that she's going to need to earn anyways. But injuries cost money. And rehab costs money, and the extra care that she needs because she now has a walker and, you know, has trouble getting around and all of that stuff costs money. So having that extra over $10,000 available to her, you know, in her words, has allowed her to get a lot of butt massages that help her feel a lot better. So what had happened is she was just trying to, every day, you know, normal stuff, trying to sit in a chair. And she underestimated how far away the chair was. So she just kind of caught the edge of it as she was trying to sit down, and she fell and broke her hip. So she fell instead of getting the chair pushed back and all that stuff. So she got paid on being in the hospital for quite a bit. She needed some surgeries. You know, when we fall and we're a little bit older, the older that we get, the little bit more fragile we are, and the longer it takes to heal. It just kind of is what it is. And then she has disability, which is ongoing. So we're still continuing to pay her. And she's going to physio, which is ongoing. So that's how she's been paid kind of on all of this stuff. So just another thing kind of on this, you know, demographic, she also now doesn't qualify anymore for coverage. She's over 70. She doesn't qualify anymore for coverage, but I still did a review because when she contacted me to process a claim, I wanted to go over the current coverage that she has and do our due diligence like we normally do. So I still did the review. I didn't go, well, she can't buy anything else. Why would I do that? So I sat there, did the review with her. She's so grateful we're giving her all of this money. Initially, she gave 7 referrals. She's just sent me a whole bunch more. She's requested for her thank you program to be gift cards for more massages. She's an amazing lady, and she's just so grateful that we were able to help her in her time of need.
Great job, Dana. Let's give her a huge round of applause here, guys. So still doing the follow-up, and now you're going to still get the referrals because these are the stories that go out there and do this, guys. So imagine that. Like, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but is she happy that she got $10,000 for butt massages, glutes massages, if we will? So, guys, honestly, we want to share these two. So Darlene's story and this story here are honestly things, and you can actually, you know, if you're sitting at a dinner table or doing like that, you can actually like visually show them like what would happen, because people can picture that. And if somebody's a little bit older, they know about the hips, right? There's something about it, right? So if you bring that up, I'm telling you, this is something this, especially if you can get them before 70, because they go right to 85. Which products do that? It's amazing. So let's give them both a huge round of applause, Darlene and Dana. All right, so we're gonna come back. We're gonna take 3 minutes in the breaker room. So pick one of those stories, go back and forth on it, guys. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We'll see you guys in 3 minutes. Great job, everyone. All right, start coming back, start coming back. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five and say, this is why we are here. All right, so great job, everybody. Really having some fun. There's some really great stories, guys. Again, the reason why he couldn't get the coverage is not because, because everybody can get accident, but he was over 70, right? So I have to understand, like, this is what it is, but that was for Darlene's, and also a meniscus is inside the knee. So just to let you guys know that those are some serious injuries, and most knee injuries do have something to do with meniscus, which prevents movement and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, of all the injuries I've ever had, the only one that's really put me down is knee injury. So to know that kind of stuff, if anybody's had a knee injury, they're like, it's the worst because you can't walk. So great job. Let's give them both a huge round of applause. And everybody so far, everybody's bringing the heat, which is awesome. All right, so next up we have Keith here. So is Keith all ready to go?
Yeah, you bet.
All right, let's give it up for Keith. Great job, Keith.
We'll wait for the
slide here.
For the slide to come up.
Brilliant.
There we go. So this client is actually, he's a super good mountain biker. Well, he's a contractor by trade, but he loves to ride his mountain bike. Really good. Now, I use this story for the example of insurance premiums, how, your car insurance, you claim once, you claim twice, what happens? The premiums tend to go up, right? It's a great way to illustrate the combined products. The premiums are unaffected by the amount of times you claim. So the funny thing is with him, because he is a high level rider, you'd expect he's doing something crazy when these injuries happen. But with the cracked ribs, he was just riding his bike and his front wheel actually literally fell apart. It just fell apart. So he went over the bars, cracked his ribs. The dislocated shoulder, he actually wasn't even on his bike. He was carrying his bike over an obstacle, slipped, and just the way he fell with his bike, it dislocated his shoulder and chipped his bone at the same time. The broken ankle, which he's just recovered from, that he was just goofing around on a little tiny jump. We were all just having fun, and somehow he landed bad and ended up with a broken ankle. So it shows, it doesn't really, it's really easy to hurt yourself, even if you're a higher level. Now, the way I'd kind of say this in a conversation would be, so what happens with your car insurance premiums if you make a claim or two? Yeah, they tend to go up, right? Well, one of the great features with combined products is that it doesn't matter how many times you claim, your premiums are unaffected. For example, we've got one of our clients, he's a concrete finishing contractor, and he loves to mountain bike in his spare time. And over the course of the last couple of seasons, he's managed to crack his ribs. This is in 3 different incidents. He's cracked his ribs, he's dislocated his shoulder with a bone chip thrown in for good measure, and he's managed to broke his ankle in the same time. Now, he does have our accident hospitalization and disability program, so he's been able to receive more than $19,000 worth of recovers. So, let me ask you this. Who do you know that would like to have the peace of mind knowing that we've got their back when they need it the most?
Yeah, let's give it up for Keith. Way to bring the heat. That is fantastic, guys. Again, a great story, guys. The premiums ours don't go up. Ours stay the same. 3 different major injuries, and this guy can actually still go back to work and take this time over 19,000. Obviously, this person sees a value. So let's give Keith a huge round of applause. That was awesome. Fantastic. All right, so next up here, guys, we have the next one here is Mary, all the way from Maryland. Let's give it up for Mary.
Mary, thank you. All right, so a little bit background of how we met this person. This is actually our client in Edmonton. It was our field training week, so I was there with him presenting this on that week. They purchased a plan to sickness plan because he already had some kidney issues. And we know that kidney problem is not a knockout on HES. So they bought the idea because they have a huge house. I couldn't even do a tour that night. And they have brand new vehicles parked in the garage. And so we planted that need and they found the value purchase plan 2. after 6 months, reached out to Al and said, we are downgrading our plans. We have other things to buy. We have other things to pay. And so we did some sort of replacement and gave them a plan 1, the husband. And then this happened. He's a machine operator. One day, just have stomach pains, rushed to the hospital, and from there was diagnosed with an abdominal ulcer. Apparently, it was due to adverse effects of a new medication he was taking for his kidney. Thankfully, he's covered. He was spent 4 months in the hospital, 2 months of which was spent in the ICU. The reason he stayed there that long, because he had to be undergoing multiple surgeries in his belly. And we have seen this person's picture, like he was really ill. For 2 months being in the ICU, 4 months in the hospital in total. He got paid $27,000 for being in the hospital for 4 months. And of course, as per doctor's advice, he had to recover fully before going back to being a machine operator. So he spent another year recovering, got paid another $27,000 on a basic plan. So total, he actually claimed $54,000. Wow. Wow. And this family yields so much referrals for Al, hence why Al is being so successful. This was his first client. So great job, Al, and great job on asking for referrals.
Yes, great job, Mary. Let's give Mary another huge round of applause. And Mr. Al Santos, guys, getting in front of people. But like, again, these are certain things that the people will never plan for. And then they were taking medication for a kidney stone. And then has this happen? I mean, that's life-changing. $54,000, as Dan says, tax-free. $54,000 for that family. Do you think this has helped out a lot?
Yeah.
On a plan 1. What if they got it a plan 2? You just double that number and it's $108,000.
Plan 3.
And a plan 3, let's go even, we do it again here, so 260, whatever it is. The math is the math. 216,000, guys. I mean, imagine that kind of stuff. So you can even tell that part of the story where somebody's like trying to downgrade, like, hold on a second. I got this one claim story. And then you can send them like, you can show them like this on the Zoom, and like, that's what you're going to go through. So these are the stories that's giving you the fuel and the energy to go through it. So let's go to these two here. So Keith had the amazing one with the multiple claims on the mountain biker. And then we also have this one here. So let's practice this one for 3 minutes and we'll come back in 3. Great job, Keith and Mary. Great job. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give him a high five, say, this is why we are here. All right, so as we get back here, guys, we'll just bring it in. So guys, obviously today, a lot of great stories, right? I mean, you heard from Mary on an MVP of why this is like the beneficial thing. You heard from Dana of what we can go do financially, but these are the other reasons why we're here. If Dan didn't go do that, if Darlene wasn't there in a coffee shop doing another presentation for somebody else, these things wouldn't be happening and these people's lives wouldn't be changed forever and become referral partners. So our job here is make sure when somebody does have a claim, we jump there and we make sure we get as many referrals out as possible because no one's ever seen this before. So let's just give all the speakers here a huge round of applause here. There's a few more here happening today, guys, but we've got a whole lot more. So we're going to continue to do this for the next little bit of time here. So Monday's going to be a great vision one. And we're going to also have some more shares of what this is on maybe even Thursday or even a little bit on Monday. So today we have Paige, Ginny, and Teresa to still come from today. And then we still have a whole nother round. So guys, these are some great stories. Make sure you're taking notes, but you're using what they're saying and how they're saying it in their presentations. So let's give everybody a huge round of applause here again. So we're going to go to the video here, guys, to finish off here so we can stay right around time. So we're going to watch this. It's a fantastic video. There's a lot of great speakers in this one here. So it starts off with a lot of energy, then it kind of cuts into actual people talking and stuff like that. So we'll come back here in about 10 minutes here, guys. So great job, everyone. We'll see you guys in 10. All right. Let's give that video a huge round of applause. Great job, everyone. So we're going to get to the R2A2 of today here. So the R2A2 is, the idea I got was, what it means to me, here's how I'll use it, and my starting date is. So the idea I got was, what it means to me, here's how I'll use it, and my starting date is. So we'll just take a quick minute to do that one. All right, start finishing up, start finishing up. Turn to your neighbor, give him a high five, and say, thank you for the R2A2. Great job, everybody. Great job right across the board here. So welcome back. We're going to finish things up here, guys. So great job right across. Let's give everybody a huge round of applause here for today. Some amazing, amazing stories. I can hear from the shares just being like, I heard Paige just like, the proof is in the claims. Guys, honestly, this is it. This is our shot. We've never seen anything like this before. We're going to talk about that on Monday. We're going to talk about vision and what this really is, because the person that shows this the most wins. And if you're not showing it, you ain't winning, because that's the whole thing. It's just, we get to go out there and educate people, right? And then you sit down with them. We're going to teach you the skills, how we can get them to understand the awareness to make sure they're getting something, because they shouldn't be leaving anytime ever. If you heard Dan's story, if you heard anybody's story here today, they should never leave without getting a simple HEA or HES. And that's our job, right? So let's give everybody a huge again round of applause here. Let's give Mary MVP. Great job, Mary. Listen to her story, guys. And honestly, if you just sell out, you're going to have it. If you're all in, it is. The whole story about it is what I talked about the other day. It's when the universe and God and everybody knows when you're all in, you're all in. But if you think that you're not, do you think that Mary's all in?
Yes.
You know why? Her paycheck shows that it. So if you're like, oh, Mark, I'm all in, the paycheck ain't showing. If it ain't Mary's check, it means like there's a place to improve, because that's all this is. This company pays you the best way you can ever get paid, because if you're all in and you give everything you've got and you're going to do whatever it is, and you're going to be ups, downs, lefts, right, climb the mountains, all that kind of stuff, you will have the success that you've always been pushing for. And this is the vehicle. This is the lottery ticket that you've been waiting for your whole life. So great job, Mary. Let's give it up for Mary here. The goal is 10 appointments a week, guys. That is no matter what. It's not disputable. You have to try and get to 10. It does not matter. And remember, Sunday night at midnight is when you have it till that time. So if you're like, oh, it's Saturday, I'm done for the week, that's not an entrepreneur. That's a job, right? So this is a place where you want to get your 10 appointments. We have to give that to the company so you can start showing it and you can start to evaluate what's going on. So give everything you got. We're going to have a draw on Monday for anybody that does the 10 appointments. So great job on that, guys. Let's give Janelle, Dan, Darlene, Dynamite, Keith, and Mary a huge round of applause here for their shares. We're going to do a lot more of these, guys, so you can get some more fields. So I hope you guys took notes. Keep that down. You can use these things. You can share. When you're sitting down with a client, if you know that they're a mountain biker or they're anything like that, you can use these ones, right? This is what people do and other people do. So if they see somebody else getting claimed, they're going to be, it's that much easier. So you have to show a visual. Again, telling somebody, but when you show somebody just that picture of a mountain, somebody on a bike, they're like, oh, that's really going to do it. Amazingly, it will, because people think in visuals. Imagine there was no PowerPoint, no nothing today. And I'm just up here talking or something like that. You don't see the video. You don't see it. It's just amazing. It's unbelievable. And just a little high note, Janelle said the other time, she shows the thank you program at the end. If you're not showing that little slide, it means nothing to them because they don't even see that it's real. Do you guys understand? People watch TV all day, then they know it's real. But if you just tell somebody something, they don't know if it's real. But if you just show them a thank you program with 2 gift cards on it, they're going to be like, oh, okay, 100%. Because now they can visually feel and sense it, right? So great job, Janelle. Let's give her a huge round of applause for that one. So here, guys, let's just finish off here. Obviously, these are powerful stories. This is why we're here. The proof's in the claims. This is what we're doing here. We are the awareness for people. I mean, you saw that little video beforehand. We have to be out there. Our job is to be the awareness for people because they don't know this even exists. And we are the solution when they have a problem. We don't want everybody to claim, but if something happens to them and they get to claim, how good do they feel? So this is our job. This is you want to ask Dan why he's here. You want to ask Ginny why they're here, because they obviously had these. But you're like, but Mark, I haven't had any claims for me yet. Don't worry. The more that you do, you will get those things and those stories. You hear Darlene just talking in a coffee shop and somebody overheard and said, wow, this lady seems to be very passionate about this. Is this real? And goes and sits down. And next thing you know, gets a small policy. And it was going to be for her husband to get her unhurt. And next thing you know, she hurts herself in the most weirdest way of all times. She's doing, breakdancing and all that kind of stuff, right? So, guys, it's knowing that stuff, right? So we have to give the energy to the dream. I mean, you've seen those amazing talks here today, guys, but it's all these people that get to talk. I don't know if you guys know who the Asian guy is. That's the guy that started Alibaba, which is one of the biggest online. It's like the Amazon for China and everything like that. He's the richest man in China. And this guy couldn't make it into KFC. Like, I mean, guys, honestly, honestly, I think it was Tesla, no, what's his name? Elon Musk said, he really is not that bright. But he has a determination that can outweigh all that kind of stuff. Because if you just work hard at this and sell yourself out to it, it's unbelievable what can happen here. We are here, so it's not just like this right here is the only reason you're getting ahead, because we're talking ourselves out why you can't pick up the phone, you can't talk to somebody. Our job is just to show, we already know that the claims are going to happen. If anything happens to that person, it's okay. We know that we got their back. But if they don't get anything that day, at least they know, the worst thing that's going to happen is they know that you showed them. And that's all our job is just to educate as many people as possible, because if somebody gets hurt in a serious injury and then you didn't do it, you're going to feel bad. And that's our job here, is to go out there. But the number one thing, it just keeps telling us, no, no, no. That's why this company gives us incentives and everything to pretty much trick our minds to say, you can get rich here. Like, we're going to talk about this on Monday, guys, but this is the greatest opportunity in your life. And if you win at this, you can win at everything. But sometimes what happens is you get a couple no's or things don't go working. So you're like, oh, I'm going to start looking over here for something else. I'm going to start going over here for something else. Or, you know what, maybe this is not what's happening in my life. You don't know what I'm going through, Mark. But really, at the end of the day, it's just that you don't want to go do it. And you're telling yourself this thing, but this is the new business. We are here and we got your back. Everybody here, we're getting on the trip. Our goal is the trip. We're all going to Mexico. We're going to talk about it every single day. And if you're like, Mark, you don't know what I'm going through, don't worry, you can do it. And every single time, it doesn't matter, because every single person here, our number one thing, when somebody starts being a little bit down on themselves, you just say, don't worry, you can do it. You deserve the trip. If you don't think you deserve it, don't worry, you do deserve it. Bring somebody on that trip and enjoy that beach time. Guys, I've won the trip for 2 every single time. I brought nobody, because I just like to be by myself sometimes. And I'm telling you, it might be selfish, but it is super cool, because you get to have the right to do that kind of stuff. So if you just want to be like, Mark, I just want to get away from the kids, then get there. Honestly, there's nothing better than being in a suite and having nobody there to complain. You can just lock the door and they're just going to keep filling up snacks and all that kind of stuff, guys. It's an amazing thing and an amazing world. Let's go out there and deserve it, because along the way, there's going to be so many things. You're going to find out so much about ourselves. Guys, let's go. Let's pick up. Let's keep doing what we're going to go out there and do and have the most phenomenal week. We're just for 6 and? We're just for 6 and? We're just for 6 and? Great job, everybody. Congratulations. Turn your neighbor, give a high five. Say, we got that. Awesome. Fantastic, everybody. Great job, Mary. Thank you.